So how did the Great Troll War actually end? You would think trolls trolling trolls, it would just go back and forth forever, right? Not so. The deal with trolling, and maybe the most effective method of trolling, is to employ like a viral tactic to convince other people who would otherwise not troll, not pick on somebody, to in fact troll. This happened with actually a user named Kiwitedferny. Now Kiwitedferny is a very interesting guy in that he lives overseas, speaks very softly. My first exposure to Kiwitedferny, I was doing a search about firearms and military history, and then here's this guy sitting in a room with all of this antique military hardware around him, wearing a Batman mask of all things, going on ad nauseum about, I think, the Browning automatic rifle, BAR, or something along those lines. And that was Kiwitedferny. Very, very, very interesting guy. Very knowledgeable, awesome channel. I don't even know if it's still up or not. But his actual experience as well, and this goes back to Nothing Fancy, Kiwitedferny was an officer in the New Zealand infantry, parachute regiment. Like, no shit. Had the pictures to prove it, and so he took great exception to, you know, certain things that were being shown on the internet, certain legitimacy operations and flaws that he could see a problem with. And so Kiwitedferny kind of threw his lot in with the critics of Nothing Fancy. Now, here's the thing. Kiwitedferny is a good person and a gentleman, and wouldn't side or hang out with people who would otherwise be rude or nasty individuals. It's just not necessarily in his nature, from what I could tell over the internet. Well, Kiwitedferny, even though he likes to get on the internet and has fun, ends up seeing a video by one of the main critics of Nothing Fancy, where this person, whom I'm not going to name, just out and out makes maybe one of the more irresponsible, unsafe firearm videos ever, and calls it out, you know, wants to tell on the guy's dad, you know, let him know what's going on. He has Kiwitedferny has a machine gun shoot stateside. He goes on to say this other person who's associated with that person is now no longer invited to this machine gun shoot, and boom, the Kiwitedferny channel shuts down. And so the Nothing Fancy main antagonists end up kind of going underground, and, you know, we take stock, like, oh man, who all did we lose? And the fun came to an end in a way. You know, just after a certain amount of time, it wasn't fun anymore. And probably half of it, looking back, was, say, the protagonist actually re-trolling their fellow trolls, and it ends up being a crazy-ass mess. Where did that leave me? I ended up getting associated more with the United Federation of Awesomeness, which is another troll mafia group centered around the Bubba Effect, last of the 803s, and what their bone to pick was with the doomers and gloomers preaching about the end of the world and prepping and building bunkers, and the criticism against that was, in some cases, I wouldn't say a lot of cases, but in some cases it was just about the money, about the fame, whatever, and these people were also going down a different rabbit hole. So that will bring us to our next chapter of the life and trolling and times of the Lambdog 76 channel. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to keep all this nice, tight, and prim. If you need to catch up I have these videos on a playlist over on the Lambdog76 channel. Feel free to partake. Of course, comment section is open for you. Very seldom do I edit, cut, or do anything with it. Y'all take care. More videos to come.